Hey everyone, how's it going? So in this video, I want to try something a little new. You see, back in a previous lifetime, I worked at SiriusXM as a producer. And one of the shows that I worked on was a show hosted by Luke Thomas. And for those of you who watch mixed martial arts or anything involving combat sports, you guys know who Luke Thomas is. You see, I thought I was good at producing because before I worked at Sirius, I was only producing podcasts, most of my own and my friends. So when I got to Sirius, I realized real quick how much I needed to learn. And I give Luke Thomas a lot of credit for building me into the producer that I was. So I don't know if he'll ever see this video, but shout out to you, Luke. Thank you. But I digress. The reason why I brought him up is because filling out 3 hours a day, 5 days a week is really hard if a very niche subject matter like MMA. Now, any given day, we could have a number of callers. We could have a lot of callers that wanted to talk about Conor McGregor if he was in the news, or there could have been some days where it was a very slow news day, not a lot was going on in the sport, and we struggled to get through those shows. But anyways, once in a while, we would come up with a fun segment, and one of the segments that we came up was called Hot Take Tuesday. And every Tuesday, sometime in the second hour of the show, myself, Luke, and the other producer would give an opinion that you ever see that meme where I think it's a Game of Thrones meme where the guy is facing an entire army of horses coming at him and it's just him with the sword? Those kind of opinions we thought would be amazing to showcase on the show. And Luke, of course, being as opinionated as he is about a lot of things, he would always give these outrageous takes that would make me and the other producer go like, what are you talking about? I think one of the first things that he said that made me just like do that, what the hell did you just say? He went on the air and had the audacity to say The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie ever made. And that I very rarely talked on his show, but that made me turn on my microphone and go, Luke, you are out of your freaking mind. There's no way. It's actually the worst Star Wars movie. And that eventually turned into an argument with me and Luke on the air. And that got a bunch of callers calling in, either defending Luke or defending me. And that ended up taking 45 minutes of the whole show. Just us screaming like a bunch of nerds about a Star Wars movie. So every Tuesday in the second hour of the show, listeners of the show got this segment. And weirdly, it could be the hottest MMA week ever. Like, it could have been a major UFC pay-per-view. I mean, John Jones could have been arrested again, and everyone would still call in for Hot Take Tuesday. It was pretty amazing how that bit just took over the whole show. I say this all because I feel like bringing it back. And also, I kind of want to have a weekly video where I talk to you guys and I respond to the comments. Glenn Fricker does this with his viewers' comments, and it could be just like a comment about anything on the channel, or it could be a response to one of his videos and he would respond to the comments. So I kind of wanted to combine both of those things. And also, just an excuse to have a little fun with you guys. So let's have some fun with this. This will be entirely dependent on you guys participating in the comments. Leave your hottest take in the comment section, and I will read them in next episodes. If this takes off, I would love to continue this. And just to get the party started, let me give you guys 3 hot takes of my own. It could be anything involving music production, it could be anything involving music in general, or it could be anything involving movies, video games, pop culture, it could be anything. Now, before I get on, you guys need to understand what a hot take is. A hot take isn't, I'm tired of the Kansas City Chiefs winning all the time. That's just an opinion. A hot take is, Patrick Mahomes isn't a good quarterback. That is a perfect example of a hot take. Now, if you leave a hot take in the comment section, defend your opinion. Write down your defense of why you believe what you believe, and let's have fun with it. If you guys disagree with the hot takes, flame the hot takes. If you guys agree with it, die on that hill with them. So I'm going to start with 3 hot takes of my own just to get the ball rolling. The first is going to be music production related. And my first hot take is probably going to be, a scorcher for all of you music studio people. The Neumann U87 is the single most overrated, industry standard microphone that's ever been invented. Here's my defense of that. First and foremost, the U87 costs well over $3,000. There are some limited edition versions of the U87 and vintage models of the U87 that cost $5,000, $6,000, even $7,000 that I've seen online. No single microphone is A, worth that much, and B, will not give you such incredible, stellar recordings on it that it's worth that much money. I personally use an AKG C214 for all of my vocals. That's my main heavy-duty main vocal microphone. And while the high end is a little bit more, pitched than the U87, I will admit the U87 is really smooth and everything sounds pretty decent on it. It's not worth $3,000 good. You can actually hear the difference between the U87 and the 214 in one of my videos where we did a drum mic shootout. You can download the multi-tracks in the description of that video. I'll link it right up here so you guys can hear for yourself. The U87 is, yes, a little smoother in the top end and the upper mids, but the 214, the cymbals just cut right through, and that's what I personally want in a room microphone. I don't need to do any EQ boosting in the high end when I use a 214. The microphone does it for me. In fact, sometimes I have to cut a little bit in the top end when I record on that microphone. And the 214 brand new, I think, is like $400. So $400 versus over $3,000. It's not worth that. The greatest compliments of a strong recording are room acoustics and a great musician playing a great instrument. Those three things are far more important than whatever microphone you use. I guarantee it that if I record a singer in my home studio right now on my 214, it will sound a lot better than if I go to a starter basement studio or even a practice room and I try to record that same singer on the U87. Guarantee it. So that's hot take number one. Hot take number two is we're gonna stick with music related things, and this will be about an artist. And specifically, I'm gonna stick with New Jersey artists here because growing up and living in this state, I get asked all the time these same questions. What exit, which by the way is cringe, you need to stop saying that. People who go Joyzy and say and over enunciate Joyzy, no one says that here. So just stop. The smell, oh, okay, that I'll give you, but it's only on the north section of the New Jersey Turnpike. Go anywhere off the Turnpike and Jersey smells wonderfully. It's not our fault that all the oil refineries and landfills just happen to be on the New Jersey Turnpike. So go anywhere off the Turnpike and Jersey smells wonderfully. But music related, the single most asked question I get music related is, do you like Bon Jovi or Bruce Springsteen? Which leads me to hot take number two, which is, I don't think Bon Jovi's music and Bruce Springsteen's music are as amazing as people think they are. I think Bon Jovi is one of those artists that if you give me a compilation or what I call best of albums, I can be okay with that. Bon Jovi only had one really good album, Slippery When Wet, and everything else was like, oh, he has one or two songs on every other album that are like, okay, but most of his stuff isn't. And don't even get me started on Bruce Springsteen. He is worshipped all over the world, but especially in New Jersey. And I know this is kind of a sacrilege to all of my fellow New Jersey people out there, but anyone who calls himself the boss, I immediately cringe on the inside. I hate the nickname. I can't stand this holier than thou attitude that everyone has towards him. Bruce Springsteen has a far more impressive catalog than Bon Jovi. His song Rosalita is better than anything that Bon Jovi ever released. And that Rosalita is an amazing song. Born to Run, amazing song, even though it's really overplayed, especially here in New Jersey. Like, we get it, Bruce, you're from New Jersey. How many fucking songs do we need to hear about you being from New Jersey to know, oh, he must be from New Jersey? It's very repetitive, it's very boring, and I'm tired of hearing it. And also, I don't like how Bruce sings. Now, don't think that I'm saying that he is a bad performer. The dude goes 3 hours every concert, nonstop. And Max Weinberg is arguably one of the greatest touring drummers of all time. He's got a very impressive band. He himself is a very good musician, but I just can't stand the way he sings. The way Bruce Springsteen sings is, it almost sounds like he's constipated and trying to push one out really hard, but it's not coming out as easily as he wants it to. Now, I'm gonna contradict myself and call my own bullshit, because my default photo is mimicking and recreating the exact photo that Bruce took of his last tour. So obviously I like Bruce Springsteen. I just don't like the level of borderline worship he gets, and I just don't like his voice. Now, if I were to pick a New Jersey artist that I would put on that level as far as like, you know, being proud that that person's from here, I mean, Frank Sinatra, born and raised in Hoboken, and Frankie Valli. Those two I would put above Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen any day of the week. All right, so now that I most likely pissed off a whole bunch of you, let's move on to hot take number 3, and I'm gonna go to movie related. Third hot take is movie related. This gets the most reaction out of all my friends because they worship this movie and I just can't stand it. And that movie is Spaceballs. I don't think Spaceballs is a good movie at all. It's not a good parody of Star Wars. It's not funny. The first 3 times I tried to watch it, I fell asleep. And when I finally did watch it, I left the experience going, really? Like, that's it? And I think this can apply to almost all of Mel Brooks' movies. I mean, Blazing Saddles did make me laugh a couple of times, and Young Frankenstein was barely passable to me. But Spaceballs is the most egregious attempt at comedy I've ever seen. I can't stand Spaceballs, and I can't fathom how anyone thinks that's funny. I think Family Guy did a far better parody of Star Wars than Spaceballs did. Like, combing through the desert and the stormtroopers are carrying a gigantic comb. I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. And for the love of God, we get it, Mel. You're Jewish. Not every joke in a movie has to scream, look at me, I'm Jewish. If I wanted to see a disgusting stereotype of a Jewish person that I actually like and laugh at, I just watched Judd Hirsch in Independence Day, because that was a funnier stereotype of a Jewish person than anything Mel Brooks did in Spaceballs. Although, the one saving grace of Spaceballs is any scene that Rick Moranis was in. There are a lot of good quotable lines in Spaceballs, I'll give it that. You know, I'm surrounded by assholes. I say that all the time. So not everything about Spaceballs is a pile of garbage to me, but I can say this direct to the camera. No single line in Spaceballs made me laugh out loud. And I truly don't understand how people think that movie's funny. So now that I most likely pissed all of you off with these hot takes, let's hear yours in the comment section. I want you guys to leave your hottest hot takes in the comment section, and if I like it, I'll comment and I'll leave a fire emoji or whatever, and I will address that in the next video. If enough of you leave comments in the next video, I will read them in the video and I will respond to it, as well as give another hot take of my own to share with you guys. So, all right guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.